How much do you need to invest to be earning 100,000 Kenya shillings per month? The other day, I was having a conversation with a friend, and he mentioned that if he would invest an amount that will be giving him 100,000 Kenya shillings per month, he would be good to go. And we started discussing how much that amount would be. And I want to extend this conversation to you, so that we understand how to go about such a scenario, or how to go about such calculations, all right? So we are going to do a few things in this video. First, we're going to talk about how to get your number, or how to create your financial goals, or how do you get the 100,000 Kenya shillings? How do you know how much is you need to live a comfortable life, okay? The second thing is we're going to calculate how much we need to invest to earn our desired amount per month. Then we are going to work with the 100,000 Kenya shillings that my friend suggested, and we will see how much we will need to invest to be earning that 100,000 Kenya shillings per month. And then toward the end of the video, I'm going to do a sample diversification, looking at how we can hedge our investment for inflation, because remember, this number is for today. So meaning 10 years from now, this number the purchasing power of the amount that we are looking at right now will not be the same. So how do you hedge your investment from inflation? And we go deeper to understand how can we actually earn more than that with the same amount of money invested. Welcome to Study of Wealth. My name is Susan Juguna, and here we speak all things money, and we are guided by the philosophy that you have to study to become, and our goal is very clear: to achieve financial freedom, having enough money working for us. If that is something that interests you, please hit that subscribe button and become part of this community. I'm very, very excited today because this video talks about what this channel is about. So let me start with a legal disclaimer. I'm a financial educator, not a financial advisor, and my job here is to show you the opportunities and teach you how they work. I'm doing this because I realized that we have so many opportunities that we don't know about, or we have heard about but we don't know how they work, and I made it my job to do the research and share with you. I'm also in this investment journey, so I share and also implement. Sometimes I share the processes, while other times we do the discussions. After learning about these opportunities, I want you to make sure that you're digging deeper, or speak to a financial advisor to find out whether these investment opportunities, they align with your financial goals. Now, before we dive into the calculations, I want us to establish what we are working with. Remember that these numbers look different for different people, and this is actually one of the ways that you set your financial goals. So the first question that you're going to be asking ourselves, or you need to ask yourself, is how much would I need to live or to sustain my lifestyle, or to live a comfortable life? And the easiest way to get this number is to track your expenses, 3 to 6 months expenses, and we have a lot of online tools to help you with budgeting. So ideally, what I'm saying here is, for you to get the number that you would need, or the amount that you need to sustain your lifestyle, you would need to budget, okay? Then to that number, because we understand there is inflation, you can add 10 to 20% to just cover inflation and also unexpected costs, because that is something that would happen. So you track your 3 to 6 months, and then onto that you add 10 to 20% to cover inflation and also unexpected costs, all right? Also remember, this number changes over time. Inflation erodes the purchasing power. So your 100,000 Kenya shillings today might need to be 130 Kenya shillings in 10 years at a 3% inflation rate, or even more for a higher inflation rate. And we also understand that life stages matters too. Starting maybe a family, while retirement might cut commuting costs, but is healthcare. So you need to review and adjust this number maybe every 1 to 3 years to just keep your goals realistic. Sometimes depending on the fund that you're investing in, like let's say money market funds or treasury bills and bonds, the rates also changes depending on the inflation level, because when inflation is low, the rates go down. when inflation is high, the rates also go up to some level. I know this covers for inflation unless the changes are sudden, but ideally you need to review your goals, and you also need to review your investment to adjust where necessary. And we are going to also cover towards the end, we are going to cover a strategy that you can use to hedge or to adjust for inflation by diversifying your investments, meaning that you can have the same amount of money but invested in a different product that is giving a higher return, and it will make sure that you don't need to add or to top up the initial investment. You just need to move that money a little bit to cover for the inflation, or to get that money to a fund that is giving better returns so that you can cover that. Because also remember that we have these markets are evolving, and we have different funds coming up, we have different investments with better option coming up. So it's something that you need to revisit or review over time so that you can adjust where necessary and also maximize on your returns. Okay, so when we get the number, then it becomes very easy for us to work from there to get how much we need to invest. Okay, so the second step is to identify where you want to invest this money, and where to invest is what determines how much you need to invest. We have covered a number of investments here, and you also need to take your time to research and understand what you're investing in depending on your risk appetite. There are people who would say, I prefer a mix of money market funds, bills, and bonds because their risk appetite is low. Others will diversify to stocks. Others will do ETFs or a mix of stocks, ETFs, and maybe bonds. Others will prefer real estate, while others will prefer businesses, depending on your level of risk and where you are as a person. Because there are people who would want to go to equity funds rather than investing in individual stocks because they don't have time to do the research and identify the stocks that they want to invest in. Other people will prefer to do stocks because stocks gives you better returns than any managed fund because now you're investing directly. So long as you have time to do your research and find out which stock is better for your portfolio. Other people will prefer businesses because they have the time, they have the knowledge, and they can actually do the business. So all this is things that you need to consider. Find out which investment is better for you, and whichever method you choose to or feel like will work well for you, that is what you go with. Okay, so what I'm giving here today is just an example, and I'll be working with the list so that we understand that, because now we're going to be working with the money market fund returns. So after that, you'll be able to adjust based on the returns of the investment that you prefer. So what you do, you work with the average returns so that even if the returns are higher, you still get a higher return, or you get a higher value, instead of working with a higher value and then when the returns reduce, then it means you'll be getting less than what you intended. So the next thing is to establish the rate of return of the investments. If you choose a money market fund, you look for what is the average rate of return. If you choose a bond, what is the average rate of the bond? If you choose a mix between maybe stocks and bonds, you establish the percentages. So let's say you decide you want to do bonds and you want to do maybe dividend paying stock. Then you calculate how much you need for each category. You can let me know in the comment section which investment you're interested in, and I'll give you the average rate of return for that particular investment. If you need a mix, you can do an average of both so that you can see how much to expect from these investments. For dividends paying stock, that is very easy to calculate. For individual stock, you can work with average of that particular market. Maybe you can use something like NSC 25 or NSC 20 tracker to see on average how much does such stock give on average, and then you can work with that particular number. Remember, when you're dealing with something like stocks or ETFs, because now you have an average, you can get more than what you have put in because you're choosing different stocks. Now let's dive right into our example. we are going to work with, let me pick a name, maybe we're going to use Anne, and we will work with the 100,000 Kenya shillings my friend suggested. So Anne is a working professional here in Nairobi who dreams of retiring early and living off passive income. After reviewing her monthly expenses, she realizes that she needs about 100,000 Kenya shillings per month to maintain her current lifestyle. That covers rent, food, utilities, transport, healthcare, and a bit of maybe leisure and savings. Okay, you can let me know in the comment section if you have a specific number, and we'll do another video to show how much you need to invest for you to get that amount. Let us make this fun and let us continue doing such videos so that it can register in our minds that this is actually possible. I want us to do such videos to understand or to get it into our minds that this is actually possible. Remember, this is a journey that I'm walking, so we are working together in this. So we go to our step number 2, where we are deciding where to invest our money or earns money to generate that passive income. And to keep things very simple, I'm going to use an example of a money market fund. I know a money market fund is, number one, it's a low risk investment and it's very easy to start. Anyone can do it because all you need to do is open an account and start putting your money in a money market fund, because this is a managed fund, so you don't need to do much in a money market fund. And the fact that you can start with as low as 100 Kenya shillings, then this is very good to accumulate money here over time. Then towards the end, we are going to set aside a percentage of the amount that we need to invest, and we are going to be putting that in a different fund to just see how much more we will earn, or how much that little percentage will reduce the amount that we need to invest. So today in Kenya, MMFs are typically averaging around 9% annual return after fees and also after taxes. And this is based on the current returns. First, we are going to convert these to annual income, because remember, our interest rate is annual. So we multiply 100,000 Kenya shillings multiplied by 12, that is 1.2 M, that is per year. So to find the required capital, we divide the annual income by the return rate, okay? And we get around 13 million, let's say 14 million to be on the safer side. So 14 million invested in a money market fund will generate our target income, assuming the returns are withdrawn monthly. This is not compounded. This is assuming, because we are doing this to fund the lifestyle. Okay, so assuming that we are withdrawing this monthly, you need 14 million. Okay. And guys, here is where things get exciting. You can potentially reduce the amount of capital required to generate that 100,000 Kenya shillings by diversifying into investment with higher returns. Even if it comes with a bit more risk, if you take a little bit of the money invested in, or the money that you required, and put it in a investment with higher returns, you get to reduce this number, okay? And this demonstrates the power of diversification, making sure that you're spreading your money across different assets to basically balance risk and reward, and potentially boost the overall returns without exposing your entire portfolio to volatility. So for Anne, let's say she takes 10% of the required amount. So for Anne, let's say that she takes 10% of that required amount, which is about 1.33 million Kenya shillings, and she invests this amount in a higher return option. Let's say maybe Mansa X, which is averaging 18% annually. So, or any other special fund, or even dividend paying stock from stable companies in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So the remaining 90%, or about 12 million, stays in a safer money market fund at 9%. If she invests the full 13.3 million Kenya shillings this way, here is what is going to happen. So the 90% in a money market fund would be giving her around 1.08 million Kenya shillings annually, and then the 10% in the higher return fund. Let's, for example, Mansa X, with 18%. For this 10%, she'll be earning 240,000 Kenya shillings annually. So the total annual income will be now 1.08 million plus 240,000, which is equivalent to 1.32 million Kenya shillings, or 110,000 Kenya shillings per month. So by risking, and when I talk about risk, if you know, Mansa X is a medium risk investment, so it's not even high risk investment. So by risking that 10% in a higher return asset, and makes an extra 120,000 Kenya shillings per year, or 10,000 Kenya shillings more per month compared to keeping everything in a money market fund. Alternatively, if she wants to stick to her exact 100,000 Kenya shillings per month goal, diversification will allow her to invest less upfront, okay? So with an effective average return of 9.9% based on the Mansa X and also the money market fund, that makes, okay, the capital needed drops to around 12.12 million Kenya shillings, a saving of over 1.2 million Kenya shillings compared to putting all that money in a money market fund or all money market fund approach. And by this, I want you to understand that diversification is not about chasing high risk or chasing risk, but about smart allocation of your asset or your money to optimize your portfolio. Now, you don't need to start with the 13 million or the big number. You just need to start where you are. You just need to start small, okay? And dare to dream. When I have found that when you have the figure in mind, it becomes your vision, and it's easier to work towards something that you know rather than walking in the darkness. And I think the bottom line of this video is it becomes easier when you know where you're going, and with such a number, we can work step by step until we reach that goal and, attain the financial freedom, because this is what it is about, having enough money working for us to sustain our lifestyle. And this is what it is about. If you're interested in learning about stocks, crypto, special funds, and other types of investment, and basically financial education, please hit that subscribe button. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And for understanding other investment options, here is a video I did to analyze Avocap, the money equity fund that reported 60% in 6 months. If you're interested, take a look. Happy investing, and bye bye. See you in our next video.